All right, so today's adventure is a unboxing and a first look at the Arken SH4. This thing has been out for a while. There's lots of reviews on it, lots of unboxing. So I'm just going to go over kind of my thoughts on it real quick. This thing has got a pretty large cult following, the Arkens. The SH4 come out and you know, it's a $400 scope. I think they originally selling for $399, and then the prices went up to like $449 because of inflation and things like that. But it's got a huge following. They say it's an awesome scope. I got one in. I'm going to set up on my CZ22 rifle, and going to check this thing out. Without further ado, we're going to get this thing out of the box. Comes with the bikini covers. They wrap it pretty well, or pack it pretty well for shipping to save space. Comes with a sunshade. It was kind of funny. I'd went through my weapons safe the other day, kind of just doing some cleaning, and I found 4 or 5 different sunshades. But I realized a lot of companies, when I started looking at the scopes in my scope boxes, a lot of companies do not give you sunshades when they give you a scope. You know, Vortex, I got them for my Vipers. That one's kind of chewed up. The coloring is, I don't know if you can see that. The coloring's off on it. Hopefully it'll focus in. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's that kind of sucks. I don't know if you can see the coloring on that. It's a bad. It's I don't know. It's faded, but here it is, out of the box in all its glory. One thing I will say, them turrets, man, are pretty wicked. They're audible. And again, that's the rave that a lot of people talk about. This thing, dollar for dollar, they say it's pretty sweet. Now I can tell you, just by that eye box isn't very big. Is it terrible? No. I've seen worse. It's pretty nice. It's very fine. It's bright though. I'm looking at a cell tower over 1,000 yards away right now, and it's man, that glass is pretty impressive. And it's only on 7 power right now. I'm going to bump it to 14. Oh yeah, the numbers are real easy to read now. And the dashes and the subtensions and everything is real clear. Man, that is nice glass. Okay, I see what people are talking about. Okay, I've got it on 24. Again, that eye box with just my hands bouncing around. I can tell it's a little finicky. Wow, that is pretty impressive. Edge to edge. The chromatic aberrations, I think is what they're called. I might be wrong. I might have said it wrong. Wow. Wow, that's kind of impressive. But I'll try to do some scope views with the Tactacam on this versus the Vortex Viper and the Swampfox Patriot. I would love to get my hands on a Swampfox Warhawk or the Kentucky long range, but man, they have been out of stock forever. I do not get T&E scopes. I'm not a big time optics channel, so nothing I show as far as optics is free. This is always out of my pocket, stuff that I've paid for, and I don't get T&E scopes to play with, so I would love Mike from PA, cough cough, Mike, if he could get me a lineup on a Warhawk or a Kentucky long range so I can play around with them. All right, so this is the deal. We're going to do some comparison through the Tactacam, through the scope footage. This is the adapter. Right now I've got it on the Arken EP4, but we're looking at the Arken EP4. We're looking at the Vortex HST 6-24. We're looking at the Athlon Midas TAC and the Swampfox Patriot 6-24. $400, $700, $800, and I think is right at $500 for this. And I'll put the prices if I butcher up the prices. Dollar for dollar, best under $700 scope. The Midas TAC has been phenomenal for me over the last couple of years. This Swampfox Patriot, $400 scope. Oh my goodness, what a value! And I'm not saying that because I'm paid by Swampfox, because I'm not. All these optics come out of my pocket. Again, my buddy Mike at Swampfox, if I can get my hands on a Kentucky long range or a Warhawk, I would love to make it happen. And he knows that I've been bugging him all the time about it. But this thing, for the price, it's pretty sweet. But we're talking about the Arken in this video and how it compares. There's a huge cult following for the Arken. Is there better scopes out there? Sure. Is there worse scopes out there? Sure. But these are pretty good scopes for the money for me. And then hopefully you can get to look through the video. Again, understand that this is a Tactacam video camera shooting through a scope, being processed on a computer and then uploaded onto YouTube. So there is various degrees of stupidity and complexity that is going to change the pictures and the pixels and everything else. But hopefully you can get a comparison of each scope. All right, Arken EP4 scope. This is at a 100-yard target. It's at 24x. My parallax is sitting right at 200 yards. Even though this is a 100-yard target, the parallax knob on 24 power is sitting at right around the 200-yard mark. The colors are really good. It's bright. It's clear all the way to the edge. I'm trying to put the colors all the way to the edge of the scope so you can see. A lot of times the edge of the scope is where it's really rough. And on this scope, even the top edge and the bottom edge, it looks really good on the Arken. Again, this is 100 yards. What I'll do is I'll spin it down so you can see a little bit through the powers. But you're talking 24 power, 20, 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, and 6 power. That's 6 power. And of course, if I now play with the parallax, it seems to sharpen up a little bit closer to the 100-yard mark at 6 power. All right. And then what I want to do is I want to look at this cell tower. Straight line distance on the ground, this is 1,000 yards. So if you add the up angle, it's going to be a little bit further than 1,000 yards. but we are now looking at this cell tower at 1,000 yards on 6 power. There's 10 power. There's 20 power. And there's 24. And I'm going to set my parallax to infinity. See this? And so that's infinity, and it's kind of blurry, but if I back off at infinity, and that is about, it looks like the 600 yard mark instead of infinity, and it seems to be a little sharper. That is the parallax set on 25 yards. So it's a little blurry. And I'll show you where this comes into play, because I'm going to throw on this cheap Swampfox later on, and you're going to see just how close this Swampfox can get. But it's nice. Looking through it, it is pretty crisp and bright. The parallax is easy to adjust. The turrets, hopefully the camera can pick up the sound. They're very tactile. Very tactile. It's a good looking scope. Athlon Midas TAC 6-24 scope at 100 yards. This is the parallax sitting right at 100. .24 power. 20, 16, 12, 10, 8, and 6 power. Same cell tower. And I'm going to bump up the parallax. And that is the parallax sitting at infinity. Athlon Midas TAC, 1,000 yards, sitting at infinity. .12 power. When we talk close up, it's 11 yards. The Midas TAC goes down. That's all the way past the 20-yard mark. There's not even a 10-yard mark. It just says 20, and it gives you some room. But as you can see, this Midas TAC focuses down to 11 yards crisp. Look how crisp that is. So this is the Vortex Viper HST 6-24. This has actually been my most temperamental scope, getting this Tactacam to show a good image on it. I don't know, for some reason the Vortex itself is awesome, it's crystal clear, but when I put this Tactacam on it, it just doesn't want to fit this scope, and the clarity of the picture just isn't as good as the other scopes with the FTS system. Again, it's not going to do it justice, but here is the same cell tower. And let me go ahead and move my, this is infinity, and it's focused in pretty good. It's clear edge to edge. At least it seems like it. Clear edge to edge. This is the Vortex. The parallax setting on the turret, the minimum is 50. And it goes just a hair below 50, so 45 maybe-ish. And as you can see, it don't focus in that close. But alright, so here's the budget option out of the whole group. Swampfox Patriot 6-24 30mm tube, $400 scope. This is 24 power, at 100 yards. And the parallax looks like it is sitting about 95 yards on the markings. 24 power. Let's go ahead and come up and see how far we can get. 1,000 meter or 1,000 yard cell tower. We're going to go ahead and set this all the way. Parallax is set all the way to the infinity mark. It didn't focus in as tight as maybe the other scopes, but it's still, for a $400 scope on 24x at 1,000 yards, edge to edge, seems pretty good. Now I want to show you where this thing really shines. Let me back it out. Again, 11 yards. Yards. The parallax setting on the cap is right at 10 yards, and honestly there's some more area left where it'd go, it would go past the 10-yard mark, but it is that clear and concise at 10 yards. The reason I like this for 22 shoots, I don't know if you've ever done it, but we put matchsticks up, popsicle sticks, eggs, and we've had targets as close as 10 yards away to shoot at. And so when you focus in on them, it's really nice to have a scope that'll go that low. And as you can see from here, this $400 Patriot will do it. Pretty neat. So just real quick, a wrap up. I know this video was probably longer than a lot of people wanted to watch even to the end. But the actual Tactacam film through scope system really didn't pick it up on video. I'm going to shorten it down and cut it a little bit shorter. 30 minutes of watching film through the scope when it really doesn't show any drastic difference. I'm just going to cut down most of it. So maybe I'll take a few snapshots and post them. But in all actuality, you've got to really look at it through first person, to know. Again, we're looking at, the Swampfox Patriot's the cheapest one here, and definitely the picture was not as clear or as crisp as the other three, but it was still pretty good. I would put the turrets a tie for first place, really, with the Athlon Midas TAC and the SH4 Gen II. Very impressed with the turrets. And I think it's really, at that point, it's personal preference. Some people might think the SH4 by Arken is a little bit better than the Athlon Midas TAC. To me, they're pretty dead even. And the Vortex, really, you could almost put a three-way tie with the Vortex Viper HST. I'm impressed with them turrets as well. And then the picture quality, honestly, it's that Arken is holding with the Midas TAC and the Vortex. Granted, I've only had this thing a couple weeks, so we'll see durability wise down the road. I do believe that I am going to take it off of this 22, since it does not go down in focus like I want to. I might swap it out and put it on the Grendel and put that Midas TAC on here. I don't know yet, but I do think it'll come off the 22 most likely. But it is a beast of a scope. Again, the Arken SH4 Pretty sweet. Thanks for watching.